Amun, our emperor, is a reference to virility, potency, impregnation, seminal idea, creative spark, first beginnings, masculine force, initial thrust, penetration, determined purpose, passionate man. So you're coming into the higher self strength, or the spiritual aspect of your strength. You might be harmoniously balanced between shadow and light, and wouldn't surprise me, Aquarius. And that's why it's showing up in this deck as this, shadow and light, right? So you're a spiritual master potentially, or you're recognizing that you are, or you're recognizing that you could be. But this is definitely a good up and up self-awareness. You know who you are. There's no BS, especially with the Eight of Disc upright. I think you're pretty confident of what you know and who you are. Eight of Discs is reference to skill, craftsmanship, care over details, employment, commission, industriousness, agriculture, excessive prudence, management of assets. You know what you're doing. You're referencing the right material. You're referencing the right way of doing things. You're analyzing. You're being an Aquarius. You're finally stepping into who you really are. You've been having trouble, though, over the readings for this last year. I think you've been kind of up and down, left and right, spun around. But now you're like, nah, I'm done with that. I know who I am. I know what I'm doing. I'm here to do this. This is what I got to do. I ain't caring or worried about anything else other than what I'm focused on. King of Cups in references a mature man who is sensitive and suggestible, graceful in his manner, easily led by others, willing to follow but unwilling to lead. He is infected by the enthusiasm around him and energized by it, so that he thinks it is his own, but when removed from it, his enthusiasm quickly dies. His nature is inherently artistic, expressing itself more in appreciation than creation. Your source of finances, or your physical or your home life, is because you're in the service of others. You're getting this wonderful full moon bliss. May not be necessarily the perfect way of dealing with things, but it's a good place to be with dealing with spiritual aspects with the physical realm. And there is an infinite abundance that can be produced in the spiritual aspects of life, right? So there's always a possibility of creating infinite abundance in any aspect, whether it be money, energy, love, compassion, anything that has to do with the physical realm. It can manifest in any way, right? So this is kind of like you being like, hey, I know what it takes. I know correlates directly with the last two cards. I think socially too, but there may be some kind of, I want to say congruent, but it's like where the points, where you're like the center of all the points. That's the social over here, what I'm seeing, right? So as you stand here being like a priest, not necessarily a priest, but the way your energy flows away from you to others and back, very harmonious. I mean, this is probably one of the best readings I've had in a long time. So I think Aquarius, you've really became what everyone says about Aquarius, right? So just make sure you're humble, right? And I think that's what this is saying. You're humble, you are. So just keep at it. Nine of Wands. Unshakable strength, obstacles overcome, determination, resolve, steady force, recovery from sickness, iron will. Socially, like I said, you're the focal point, and you're like, I am who I am, directly, like, amazing, man. Or girl, whoever you are, you're amazing. You're wonderful. Everybody loves you. But you're not like, see, everybody loves me. No, you're humble. You're being like, I gotta see the light, making sure in the shadows. You're not here to destroy everything that isn't light, right? You're just here to funnel and continue the mastery of being an Aquarius, being the water bearer, refreshing, healing, bringing it to people who need it. You've got this. Eight of Cups in reverse is reference to success, abandon, self-defeat, immobility, paralysis, depression, misery. So emotionally, even though you've got all this wonderful stuff going on in your life, there's something emotionally just not quite feeling it. You're like, you can't quite put your finger on it, and it's in that you're holding on to it tightly. All these other, being the water bearer, right? The Aquarius, not noticing that you're actually spilling what you're carrying upside down from your heart. See, the heart chakra is going to potentially need some fixing or working or alignment or some attention. So maybe it's because you're looking for somebody to share this with. You want to be with somebody, or the somebody you're with isn't quite seeing you for who you are. There's some kind of emotional distraught that's going on in your life. It's not like a big social thing. It's individuals. One specific person probably, maybe a couple close to you. But you're over here being humble, doing what you gotta do. Or it could be the lack of, or they're not doing how you feel about it. Something about your emotions and potentially, maybe it's what you've done in the past, an accumulation, and now you're like, oh, I see, I feel, or I don't feel because of this, but I see and I know, and I'm experiencing it, but I don't quite feel it. So you maybe need to work some more on loving yourself a little bit. Maybe you're being a little too much about others and not making sure you're loving yourself while doing it. But I think you'll figure this out. Ketter, the crown, spirituality, the first emanation, the first utterance, the font of energy through which non-self emanates into the universe. The crown sits above the head and embodies that which is beyond our comprehension. One must envision Ketter not as an object that can be perceived, but as the light that is cast upon it. Ketter's light is beyond knowability. So knowing. It's beyond knowing. The timeless expanse of pure consciousness. Only through respect for our own limitations do we begin to see the shadow of its nature. It is the dark orb beyond which lies the infinite. As the highest point of the tree, all continuums cascade downward from it. Ketter stands in contrast to Malkuth, who rests on the very bottom of the tree. The span that lies between them measures the complete distance from the most spiritual to the most physical aspects of our existence. Journeying downward from this point, all other emanations become increasingly close to our present experience. This is a reference to spiritual epiphany, faith, humility. This is saying Aquarius and Keter are one and one. They're very connected, very close, and they know what they're doing. They know who each other are, and Aquarius is Keter in a sense, and Keter is an Aquarius in a sense, kind of thing. That's what I'm getting from it. The thinker, father of knowledge. The thinker's formidable intellect has persisted even into the afterlife, and he has no illusions about who or what he was in life or in death. His will and reason form the foundations of the city district around him, and he uses his knowledge to instruct those who come to his university of the mind. The thinker teaches us that there is no state in which and from which we cannot learn, and that often the best way to improve is to teach and exchange knowledge with others. This is in reference to just having knowledge or instructions or reinvention. So, once again, Aquarius, you are who you are, right? Coming apart, now's the time to take separate paths. The coming apart card is assigned to put an end to what is no longer working for you. Has a commitment been broken? Perhaps you need to break a promise. or change course because you took on more than you could handle. This is a perfect time to reassess your goals and values. Are your actions in alignment with what you believe in? Have you created a partnership that is not mutually beneficial? Separation, dissolution, and dispersion are all in focus now. If someone wishes to break away from you, don't chase the relationship out of a sense of fear. The price you'll pay will not be worth the prize. Separation brings good fortune. A situation is unraveling, and your best plans are leading you into a tricky maze. Your challenge is to separate out the elements of this puzzle to get a better perspective on what happened. You may have lingered too long in a place where you didn't belong anymore, seduced by a temporary solution. As you untangle yourself, it's important to maintain a sense of humor. Don't fret. You will learn something valuable that you'll need later when faced with a more dangerous situation. Breathe and know that you are loved. So this is directly correlating with the Eight of Cups here in reverse for your emotional aspect of yourself. Something that I felt like you were coming apart, right? But you heard the message. You know what's up. Hey Aquarius, this is your 5 aspects of yourself reading for November 2021. Aquarius, November 2021. For your spiritual aspect of yourself, you have 9 of Discs. Intellectual, you have 7 of Swords in reverse. Physical, you have Knave of Wands in reverse. Social, you have Knave of Swords in reverse. And emotional, you have 10 of Swords in reverse. Angel Maria message for Aquarius, November of 2021. Shilagel, Angel of Snow. Mausolea message for Aquarius, November 2021. Golden Empress, Jewel of Abydos. Enchanted Map message for Aquarius, November of 2021. Field of Dreams.